I'll rock bottom his candy ass.
We spoke to the UK UFC heavyweight champion, Tom Aspinall. He also said he would like to give WWE a try. Would you be up for being his first fight?
There's one answer as The Rock, which is like, I'll rock bottom his candy ass, and blah, but then there's the other answer, which is, I love Tom. I got a lot of respect for him. I think he would be a great WWE performer. He's the kind of guy you just already know who's just disciplined and committed, and he's a fan, and that's the thing. Right, with the fighters, and we've had a lot of fighters try and cross over into WWE, and it's not always for everybody. But Tom would be fun. That would be great. I'd take him to lunch.
I'd love him to have a very highly paid boxing match.
Tom Aspinall drops the massive bombshell on UFC and Dana White after boxing career headlines. Now his another career move option, and it's WWE right. The Rock believes Tom Aspinall is the biggest champion of WWE in the future. And also, Dana White signs a heavyweight champion Denzel Freeman to the UFC. Is this a replacement for Tom Aspinall? Let's find out.
Love the sport of MMA, as you guys know, and the respect I have. And coming out here, I hear my theme song. I'm like, shit. What if, you imagine if I was an MMA fighter like UFC heavyweight coming out to my music, my theme song, right? That's cool, man. Well, I don't know about that. Give it a shot. Headline will read, Tom Aspinall knocks out The Rock in 8 seconds.
The hottest UFC news and breaking stories. Today we've got some massive developments that could shake up the entire heavyweight division. Make sure to smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell because you don't want to miss any of these bombshell updates. First up, The Rock himself has given Tom Aspinall the ultimate endorsement for a future WWE career. During a recent interview on Kiss Xtra, UFC heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall was asked about potentially stepping into a WWE ring. And guess who he named as his dream opponent? None other than the great one himself, The Rock.
I've become obsessed with WWE because of the UFC, actually, because I went with Oban earlier to SmackDown back in March. If you could fight anyone in a WWE match, who would it be?
I went to a WWE recently and I wanted to do like a little bit, like I wanted to punch someone and just make some good headlines and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's what I wanted to do. But UFC actually wouldn't let me do it. So I got in the ring and did some talking, but it wasn't the same. I wanted to like really be involved with it.
Was this with Cody Rhodes?
That was with Cody Rhodes and Gunther, is it?
Oh, I love Gunther. He's one of my favourite heavyweights.
He was awesome. Great guys. Loved them both. But like I used to watch it when The Rock was in. Randy Orton, John Cena, they were the top boys when I was watching it. Yeah, but they were a bit old school now, but probably The Rock.
So maybe one day we might get you doing a little promo.
I'd like to, maybe.
But here's where it gets interesting, fight fans. When The Rock was asked about Aspinall's comments in the same interview, he didn't just brush it off. Listen to what he said. There's one answer, as The Rock, which is like I'll rock bottom his candy ass. But then there's the other answer, which is I love Tom. I've got a lot of respect for him. I think he'd be a great WWE performer. He's the kind of guy who's just disciplined and committed, and he's a fan.
I'll rock bottom his candy ass.
We spoke to the UK UFC heavyweight champion, Tom Aspinall. He also said he would like to give WWE a try. Would you be up for being his first fight?
There's one answer as The Rock, which is like, I'll rock bottom his candy ass, and blah, but then there's the other answer, which is, I love Tom. I got a lot of respect for him. I think he would be a great WWE performer. He's the kind of guy you just already know who's just disciplined and committed, and he's a fan, and that's the thing. Right, with the fighters, and we've had a lot of fighters try and cross over into WWE, and it's not always for everybody. But Tom would be fun. That would be great. I'd take him to lunch.
The Rock even said he'd take Aspinall out to lunch. And remember, The Rock isn't just talking as a former WWE superstar. He's currently on the board of directors for TKO Group Holdings, which owns both WWE and UFC. That's some serious pull right there.
Love the sport of MMA, as you guys know, and the respect I have. And coming out here, I hear my theme song. I'm like, shit. What if, you imagine if I was an MMA fighter like UFC heavyweight coming out to my music, my theme song, right? That's cool, man. Well, I don't know about that. Give it a shot. Headline will read, Tom Aspinall knocks out The Rock in 8 seconds.
This isn't just celebrity talk, folks. This could be a real pathway for Aspinall's future career moves. But WWE isn't the only alternative career path Aspinall is considering. Tom Aspinall's father, Andy, recently dropped some major hints about his son's future in a YouTube video. And what he said might shock UFC fans. "I'd love him to have a very highly paid boxing match for the money. The money's there. I don't see why somebody as talented as Tom shouldn't have a piece of that money when the boxers are getting 100 times more."
The money. I'd love him to have a very highly paid boxing match. For the money. You know, the money's there, and I don't see why somebody as talented as Tom shouldn't have a piece of that money when the boxers are getting 100 times more than 100 times more.
Think about that statement. Andy Aspinall is basically saying the UFC isn't paying championship money compared to what boxers are making. And he's not wrong. Look at what Francis Ngannou made when he left the UFC for boxing against Tyson Fury. Now, Aspinall's boxing skills might be untested in a pure boxing environment, but his power is undeniable. The man has knocked down 5 of his 9 UFC opponents and has never needed more than 16 punches to score a knockout victory in the octagon.
Tom Aspinall's the guy. He's the guy.
Dana White says I'm his man. We love that. We love that on the channel.
And what about Francis Ngannou? You having him? You want some?
The day that I start ducking out of fights and turning opponents down and stuff like that is the day that I'm going to retire. So, as I've always said, and you can ask any promoter I've ever worked with, any guys at the UFC, I'll fight anyone, I'll fight anytime, and I'll fight anywhere. Never turned down a fight in my life, never will. The day that I start thinking about turning down fights is the day that I'll retire. So to answer the question, whoever they want me to fight is who I'm going to fight.
Could we see Aspinall follow in Ngannou's footsteps? The writing might be on the wall, especially with these alternative career options gaining serious momentum. Now, while Aspinall is exploring other options, Dana White has been on an absolute heavyweight signing spree. Just this week, Dana White announced the signing of LFA heavyweight champion Denzel Freeman, and this signing is significant for multiple reasons.
Oh, big head kick! Denzel Freeman drops Raiden Kovac early. The left hand's raining down. Raiden Kovac appears to have his wits about him, at least temporarily, Kenny. Oh, that was an absolutely beautiful...
Freeman isn't your typical UFC signing. At 33 years old with only 7 professional fights, he's getting fast-tracked straight to the UFC. And not just any debut. He's fighting on the UFC's first ever event in Qatar this November. But here's what makes Freeman special. He's a U.S. Marine Corps logistics officer, former WWE NXT developmental talent LFA heavyweight champion with back-to-back second-round stoppages. He submitted current UFC heavyweight Stephen Aspinall by rear naked choke. Freeman will face another newcomer, Marek Barlow, in what could be a star-making fight for both men. But this isn't just about Freeman. Dana White has been signing heavyweight after heavyweight recently. Marek Barlow, Max Gaminis, Jose Luis, it's like he's building an entire new heavyweight roster.
USADA came to the gym to test me. And it was like a weird kind of setup. So I was sat like on a bench. So I was in the changing rooms, just pissed in like a cup, like because you got to piss in a cup and then like put it in different. It's weird. They make you like separate the piss. So I'm sat on this bench, and it's like the only bench in the changing rooms. And the guy next to me on the bench, he's writing the forms out that you got to write. And Till's like getting changed over behind the guy. So the guy's like kind of facing me and Till's kind of getting changed behind him. And Till just completely naked, just kept walking over and asking him questions like over his shoulder, looking at, like he was just saying, oh, what is it you're writing there? And he was completely naked and the USADA guy had no idea that he was naked. And then he just kept coming over and asking questions. It was just funny, mate. It was just so funny.
The question everyone's asking, is this preparation for life without Tom Aspinall? Is Dana White seeing the writing on the wall with Aspinall's boxing and WWE ambitions and preparing contingency plans? Let's connect the dots here, fight fans. We've got Tom Aspinall being courted by The Rock for WWE, his own father pushing for big money boxing matches, and meanwhile, Dana White is frantically signing new heavyweight talent like his division depends on it.
I'll rock bottom his candy ass.
We spoke to the UK UFC heavyweight champion, Tom Aspinall. He also said he would like to give WWE a try. Would you be up for being his first fight?
There's one answer as The Rock, which is like, I'll rock bottom his candy ass, and blah, but then there's the other answer, which is, I love Tom. I got a lot of respect for him. I think he would be a great WWE performer. He's the kind of guy you just already know who's just disciplined and committed, and he's a fan, and that's the thing. Right, with the fighters, and we've had a lot of fighters try and cross over into WWE, and it's not always for everybody. But Tom would be fun. That would be great. I'd take him to lunch.
Today, I'm in beautiful California with my family. I just got done doing some stem cells. I usually don't complain to the fans about all the different injuries that I've had over the years. You guys usually only hear about the major ones. I usually just get back to work and fight the toughest competition that the world has to offer. But this time I took a little bit of step back and I got some stem cells done and some things that really needed to get addressed. I wanted to thank the UFC for supporting that. And yeah, life is good. Your boy's healing, becoming stronger so that I can finish my old man chapters like a real badass. I think a lot of great things are to come, but all great things take time. I'm patient. I'm a man on a mission, a man with a plan.
205 to heavyweight, Jon Jones. They're talking about the White House. They're talking about a White House fight card. Hey, man, we got to have some Americans win.
Yes.
I don't like Jon Jones. There's no secret. The whole world knows it.
You're right.
I say, man, y'all better put Jon Jones on there. Because right now we ain't got one American in the top 10 pound for pound. I said, if y'all want an American dude to go get a victory, put Jon Jones in there. Because he gonna win. That's what he does.
Yes.
Jon Bones Jones' latest bombshell announcement, his cryptic man-on-a-mission message to the MMA community, and the surprising support he's receiving from former rival Israel Adesanya. This is a story of retirement reversals, multi-million-dollar deals, and White House dreams that has the entire combat sports world talking. Let's start with the numbers that have everyone's attention. Jon Jones, widely considered the greatest mixed martial artist of all time, was reportedly offered a staggering $30 million to face Tom Aspinall in what Dana White believed could be the biggest heavyweight unification bout in UFC history.
Everything on the table, would you have rolled it for $30 million?
Yeah.
Bro, even if I wasn't a fighter for $30 million, I'd get my ass kicked for $30 million. Like, yo, fuck it.
And like I said, for $30 million, but I don't know how Jon Jones' body feels.
But here's where it gets complicated. Jones initially accepted the deal, shook hands on it, then pulled out completely before announcing his retirement in June. The MMA community was shocked. Here's a fighter at the peak of his earning potential, walking away from generational wealth. The retirement lasted exactly 2 weeks. What changed his mind? President Donald Trump announced a UFC event at the White House in July 2026. That's right. The prospect of fighting on the White House lawn was enough to bring Bones out of retirement.
So every one of our national park, battlefields, and historic sites are going to have special events in honor of America 250. And I even think we're going to have a UFC fight. Does anybody watch UFC, the great Dana White? We're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this, on the grounds of the White House. We have a lot of land there. We're going to build a little, Dana's going to do it. Dana's great, one of a kind. We're going to have a UFC fight, championship fight, full fight, like 20, 25,000 people. And we're going to do that as part of 250 also. We're going to have some incredible events, some professional events, some amateur events. But the UFC fight's going to be a big deal, too.
However, there's a catch. UFC CEO Dana White, clearly frustrated by Jones flip-flopping, has stated there's only a 1,000,000,000 chance that Jones will be allowed to compete at that historic White House event. White feels his trust has been broken, and in the fight business, trust is everything. Despite the tension with UFC leadership, Jon Jones recently took to social media with an optimistic message that has the MMA world buzzing. In a candid Instagram post, the 38-year-old heavyweight revealed he's undergone stem cell therapy to address lingering injuries, something he says he rarely discusses publicly. Here's what Jones told his fans. "I just got done doing some stem cells. I usually don't complain to the fans about all the different injuries I've had over the years. This time, I took a little step back and I got some stem cells done." But it was his closing statement that really caught attention. "Life is good. Your boy is healing, becoming stronger so that I can finish my old man chapter like a real badass. I think a lot of great things are to come, but all great things take time. I'm patient. I'm a man on a mission, a man with a plan."
Today, I'm in beautiful California with my family. I just got done doing some stem cells. I usually don't complain to the fans about all the different injuries that I've had over the years. You guys usually only hear about the major ones. I usually just get back to work and fight the toughest competition that the world has to offer. But this time I took a little bit of step back and I got some stem cells done and some things that really needed to get addressed. I wanted to thank the UFC for supporting that. And yeah, life is good. Your boy's healing, becoming stronger so that I can finish my old man chapters like a real badass. I think a lot of great things are to come, but all great things take time. I'm patient. I'm a man on a mission, a man with a plan.
The phrase "man on a mission" has become a rallying cry for Jones supporters, suggesting he's not just planning a comeback, he's planning something spectacular. The question remains, will Dana White give him that opportunity? In perhaps the most surprising twist of this entire saga, former two-time UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya has publicly backed Jones's controversial retirement decision. This is significant because Adesanya and Jones haven't always been the closest of colleagues. Adesanya's reasoning is purely strategic. Speaking with Demetrius Johnson, the last stylebender explained, "If I were in his position, I would have probably done the smart thing, which is after Stipe bounce. You don't want to risk it because it's a great legacy. God forbid he beats you. You've got to come back again and try to fight him again and beat him."
I want to roll them fucking dice. I'm out. I'm gone.
I was about to say, if I was in his position, I would have probably done the smart thing, which is after Stipe bounce, or if I prolonged it maybe a few months and I realized and I just know I'm not going to fight anymore, I'm not rolling the dice against a guy like that, because I'm just like, you don't want to risk it because it's a great legacy, and then if he, God forbid or whatever, if he beats you, then you got to come back and try and fight him again and beat him.
What Adesanya is saying here is brutally honest. Jones has everything to lose and very little to gain by fighting Tom Aspinall. A loss would force him into an immediate rematch, extending his career by years and potentially tarnishing his legacy as the greatest of all time. But Adesanya doesn't think Jones will stay retired forever. "I think he's gonna come back," Adesanya predicted. "He's gonna come back after he sees more of Tom fighting two other guys and probably get his stock up. It's Jon Jones. Tom is a different beast, but I think he'll do it, and the fight will be that much bigger."
I think he's going to come back.
I don't think he is.
I think it's going to come back. I think he'll do it maybe after whatever happens legally that he has to go through.
Yep.
Then he's just going to come back after he sees more footage of Tom fight two other guys and then probably get his stock up anyway. And
He'll be 40.
He'll be 40 by then.
He'll do it. It's Jon Jones. Again, look, me and Jon, we're cool.
Of course.
I've been a fan. And I think just he's that guy that after the Saragan fight, because I thought like, nah, Saragan's young.
Yep.
He's a guy that can give him problems. And the way he dispatched of him, I was like, okay, I can't doubt this guy anymore. But Tom is a different beast.
1,000%.
I think Tom's a different beast. But I think he'll do it, and the fight will be that much bigger.
This endorsement from a fellow champion adds legitimacy to Jones's calculated approach to his career finale. While Jon Jones recovers and plans his next move, the heavyweight division hasn't stood still. Tom Aspinall, the man who was supposed to face Jones, is now the undisputed heavyweight champion after Jones relinquished his title during his brief retirement.
UFC 321, October 25th, Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi. Tom Aspinall will face Cyril Gane. Aspinall has 15 wins, and all of them are by finish. Gane is the #1 ranked heavyweight.
Aspinall isn't waiting around either. He's scheduled to face Cyril Gane at UFC 321 in October, taking place in Abu Dhabi. This fight will likely determine who truly deserves to be called the top heavyweight contender when Jones eventually returns. Meanwhile, Jones has officially re-entered the UFC's anti-doping program, a necessary step for any fighter coming out of retirement. Typically, fighters must undergo 6 months of testing before being cleared to compete, though the UFC could potentially waive this requirement given Jones's extremely brief retirement.
Yo, just wanted to wish you all a very happy and proud 4th of July. Hope you guys were safe this year and that no one lost any fingers or anything like that. Dutch, lay down. That's a good boy. USA, USA.
The timing actually works in Jones's favor if his ultimate goal is that White House card in July 2026. That gives him over a year to heal, train, and hopefully repair his relationship with Dana White. What we're witnessing with Jon Jones goes beyond just fight negotiations or retirement announcements. This is a masterclass in legacy management from one of the sport's most calculating competitors. At 38 years old, Jones knows he has limited fights left. Every decision he makes now will define how he's remembered. The $30 million offer, while massive, represents just one payday. The White House event represents history, a chance to compete in the most unique setting in UFC history, potentially cementing his legacy in a way that no amount of money could buy. Israel Adesanya's support also highlights something important about elite athletes. They understand the mental chess game that casual fans might miss. Sometimes the smartest move is knowing when not to fight, especially when you've already proven you're the greatest. So where does this leave us? Jon Jones remains a man on a mission with a plan, as he puts it. He's healing, he's registered in the UFC's testing program, and he's keeping his options open for what could be the most unique fight card in combat sports history. Dana White's frustration is understandable, but business is business, and Jones versus Aspinall at the White House would be the kind of spectacle that transcends sports. Will White's anger outweigh the massive commercial opportunity? Only time will tell. What we know for certain is that Jon Jones isn't done yet. Whether it's at the White House, in a traditional arena, or somewhere else entirely, Bones is planning one final chapter to his legendary career. And if Israel Adesanya is right, when Jones does return, the weight will have made the fight that much bigger. We'll continue following this story as it develops. For now, the MMA world waits to see what the man on a mission does next. That's all for tonight's MMA update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for more breaking news from the world of mixed martial arts.
At this point, is there anything in the next few months or several months that Jon could do where you could say, okay, I actually trust him to put him on that card?
Let me ask you. What do you think Jon would do in the next couple of months that would make me trust putting him on the White House card?
Well, I would not trust him, but I would like to see him fight Aspinall on that card down the road.
So I already said that I don't trust him, and you're asking me what could he do for me to trust him in the next 3 months. You don't trust him.
Well, yes, but you talk to him. I don't.
Yeah, no, I don't talk to him either. I haven't talked to him at all.
Well, there's a greater chance you'll talk to him than I'll talk to him.
Yeah. I would not bet on, if I had to make odds, it's 1 billion to 1 that I put Jon Jones on the White House card.
Just days after UFC CEO Dana White crushed Jones's White House dreams by giving him 1 billion to 1 odds of making the historic July 4th card, Bones Jones has responded with unshakable confidence, declaring, "I like my chances," and revealing he's still training for what he desperately calls his ultimate goal.
Oh, boy. Boy. Spider webs.
Do you think Jones has been ducking him?
Yes, I think he didn't want to fight him. And I think it was a calculated decision on his part. Why did you drag this out all the way until June when you knew you weren't going to fight him? He gave the UFC a number. I believe it's in the $30 million range for this fight, which, by the way, I think he deserves. Yeah. He didn't think that they would come up with the number, and they did.
Oh, what?
Oh, they did come up with the number, yes. And I believe that Saudi Arabia was involved. The big dogs were involved, right? And he said yes. And then 2 days later, 3 days later, whatever, he said, nah, on second thought, I'm out.
What?
And that's why when he announced his retirement, Dana said, he gave me his word, and then he went back on his word.
Whoa.
I think he was hoping that they would not meet the number, and then he could be like, hey, guys, I tried.
And Turkey was just like, no, we haven't.
And they met it. Yeah. Because that's what happened with the Francis Ngannou fight in 2020. He threw out a massive number. They said no, and then the fight fizzled. This time they said yes.
This comes after explosive reports that Jones walked away from a jaw-dropping $30 million offer to fight Tom Aspinall. Money he rejected to chase his White House dream. In previous months, Jones has made it crystal clear, "I desperately want to fight at the White House." And despite Dana's devastating odds, he's doubling down on that obsession. Tonight, we're breaking down Jones's defiant response, the $30 million rejection that has everyone talking, and why the greatest fighter of all time is willing to risk everything for one last shot at glory on America's biggest stage.
So they've announced this White House UFC fight. Can we expect to see you on the card?
I can't promise anyone anything, but I have very strong feeling that I'll be on that card. It's going to be historic.
But who would you take on? Who would be your dream opponent?
I would want to take on whoever's holding the belt at the end of the year.
Any possible names you think?
Well, no, I mean, as of right now, the champion is Tom Aspinall, but we'll see who's the champion at the end of the year. Be only fitting to have an American guy fight for the championship that night. I'd be willing to put it all on the line.
Nice.
This story has it all. Broken promises, impossible odds, and one legend's refusal to give up on his ultimate dream. Let's set the stage here. President Donald Trump, a longtime UFC enthusiast, has proposed something unprecedented in combat sports history, a UFC event on the White House South Lawn on July 4th, 2026, marking America's 250th anniversary. Dana White confirmed this isn't just presidential wishful thinking. He told the Associated Press, the UFC will be on the White House South Lawn live on CBS. This card is part of a massive $7.7 billion Paramount deal starting in 2026, and White wants it to be the UFC's biggest event ever. When Jon Jones caught wind of this historic opportunity, his eyes lit up. Here's a fighter who's conquered nearly everything in his sport, the youngest UFC champion at 23, 8 successful light heavyweight title defenses, heavyweight champion. But he's never fought for his country on such a monumental stage. Jones didn't hide his enthusiasm, posting on social media about wanting to represent America and giving himself a greater purpose. He even gifted President Trump his heavyweight belt cage side at UFC 309, seemingly positioning himself for this dream fight.
You don't know how much nerves you added to this. Nervous. I'm so glad.
But there's just one massive problem standing between Jones and the White House lawn: Dana White's complete loss of trust in his former golden boy. To understand White's frustration, we need to talk about the fight that never happened and the jaw-dropping amount of money involved.
But there's a report that Jon was offered $30 million to fight Tom, and he turned down $30 million. This is fiction. This is fiction to a very high level. And that fight all in would have paid right around $12 million. Now, one of the things that you need to understand, the only thing keeping Jon in the sport is the money. The only reason Jon will come back to the sport is the money. The only reason Jon is in the pool right now, and before you think like that's a backhanded comment to Jon, no, it's true with most guys. I mean, they call it prize fighting, but Jon is in a uniquely limited situation with his ability to go into the community and earn.
According to MMA journalist Ariel Helwani's Bombshell report, Jon Jones was offered an astronomical $30 million to fight interim heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall. Let me repeat that, $30 million. For context, that's more than many fighters earn in their entire careers. Here's where it gets wild. Jones initially agreed to the deal. The UFC brass was ecstatic. Fans were already booking their pay-per-view parties. This was supposed to be the heavyweight unification bout that would settle the division once and for all. But then, just days later, Jones pulled the plug. He walked away from $30 million, left Aspinall hanging for nearly 600 days as interim champion, and instead chose to fight the aging Stipe Miocic, a fight that felt more like a victory lap than a true championship test.
Ariel Helwani went on the Impulsive podcast with Logan Paul and had a bunch to say yesterday, including that Jon Jones requested $30 million to fight Tom Aspinall. And he got it. Ariel Helwani said they had to go to the Saudis to get the money, but it was all approved. Once it was approved, Jon Jones backed out of the fight. No one knows the real reason, but that's how it went down. This is per Ariel Helwani. Did Jon Jones drop the bag? $30 million to fight? He'd probably make $35 million when all said and done. with sponsorship and this and that and all the exposure. I mean, $35 million to fight one man. Come on now. I can't believe it. Do you think Jon Jones messed up on this one? I don't know.
After beating Miocic at UFC 309 in November 2024, Jones had the perfect opportunity to ride off into the sunset. Instead, he held out until June 2025 to announce his retirement, leaving everyone wondering what his true motivations were. This sequence of events didn't just cost Jones $30 million, it apparently cost him Dana White's trust forever. At the UFC 319 post-fight press conference this past Saturday, Dana White delivered what might be the most brutal public dismissal of a fighter in UFC history. When asked if there was anything Jones could do to earn his way onto the White House card, White's response was ice cold. "Let me ask you, what do you think Jon would do in the next couple of months that would make me trust putting him on the White House card? I already said that I don't trust him."
I've seen a lot, obviously, of what you said recently to Jim Rome. Just wondered, at this point, is there anything in the next few months or several months that Jon could do where you could say, okay, I actually trust him to put him on that card?
Let me ask you, what do you think Jon would do in the next couple of months that would make me trust putting him on the White House card?
Well, I would not trust him, but I would like to see him fight Aspinall on that card down the road.
So I already said that I don't trust him, and you're asking me what could he do for me to trust him in the next 3 months. You don't trust him.
Well, yes, but you talk to him. I don't.
Yeah, no, I don't talk to him either. I haven't talked to him at all.
Well, there's a greater chance you'll talk to him than I'll talk to him.
Yeah, I would not bet on, if I had to make odds, it's 1,000,000,000 to 1 that I put Jon Jones on the White House card.
But White wasn't done there. He continued, "You don't trust him." "I don't talk to him either. I haven't talked to him at all. If I had to make odds, it's 1,000,000,000 to 1 that I put Jon Jones on the White House card." 1,000,000,000 to 1. White even admitted he doesn't talk to Jones anymore and wouldn't bet on him if his life depended on it. When the man who used to call you the GOAT won't even take your calls, you know you've burned some serious bridges. But Jon Bones Jones didn't become one of the greatest fighters of all time by backing down from impossible odds. In a defiant response posted on X, Jones showed the heart of a champion. "Despite the odds, I'm still training and optimistic about the possibility of being part of the White House event." He continued with what might be the quote of the year. "At the end of the day, Dana is the boss, and it's his call whether I compete that night or not. I do know Dana was really excited about the fight, and the door hasn't been completely closed. That's all a guy like me really needs." But here's the kicker. Jones ended with a line that perfectly encapsulates his legendary confidence. "But I like my chances. After all, 1 in 1,000,000,000 is exactly what it took to end up as Jon Bones Jones in the first place." Jones has already re-entered the UFC's drug testing pool, showing he's serious about this comeback. He's turned down lucrative boxing matches, including one against Fedor Emelianenko in Moscow, to focus solely on this White House opportunity. Here's where the story takes an interesting twist. While Jones faces 1,000,000,000 to 1 odds, Conor McGregor appears to have a clear path to the White House card. Despite his own controversial history, White told Jim Rome, "I trust Conor. McGregor has never, unless he's seriously injured. This guy has always delivered." Jon, I'm a little more skeptical about
Jones, of course. Nobody is like him. Nobody. He beats the monsters. You know, I would do all my training with Alex. I know how good he is. And if Jon Jones could stop that guy, it's scary. And he beat like not easy fighters, and it was crazy good fighters, knockout power, and on the ground it was good. Everything was like perfect. The guy and DC, you know how with pressure and good wrestling, and you have good boxing, and he has mentality. It's like just pressure the fighters and them, you know. And he stopped that guy as well. If he stay in the game, he has to beat pound number 1.
Do you feel Jon Jones is the GOAT of the UFC?
Of course, he is a GOAT of MMA, bro. So if somebody could be a king of MMA, he's a king of MMA. So that guy is such a good guy and crazy fighter. And I like to watch his fights, and I like to watch his eyes. How special he is. You know, he wanna fight. If it's going bad for him, I don't know, some way he could work out there with the win there, you know. So he's special guy in MMA. And we can't say this guy is MMA, you know.
Mhm.
He's legend. Happy to see him finish now, undefeated. I hope he never come back.
Khamzat Chimaev has just delivered a spine-chilling warning about Jon Jones that has the entire MMA world talking. And Jon Jones's response? It's got everyone picking sides. Plus, Tom Aspinall's backing Dricus du Plessis in a move that's creating the biggest controversy of 2025. Stay tuned because this story has more twists than a championship fight.
Who's your favorite fighter in the UFC?